All right, what's going on, everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 5 different real estate negotiation tips and strategies that I've used myself personally to get very discounted real estate deals, both on market as well as off market. So if you apply these strategies, chances are you'll start to see some very good deals come your way. So let's get into it. Okay, so strategy number 1 is to always try to get a price from the other party, whether that's just a direct seller and it's an off-market deal, or whether you're working with a listing agent. So for example, with off-market deals, I always say, look, if we were to make you an as-is offer, close quickly, no real estate commissions, what's the best you can do? And they'll oftentimes give me a number. And usually it's a pretty good number. And that's not even to say I can't even negotiate that number. So once they give me that number, that's kind of like a framework to work with. I'll still run my own numbers. I'll say, okay, that might work. Let me run my numbers and then I'll let you know. And oftentimes I'll still come in lower than that number. And that's probably a good strategy too. You always want to, even if it's a good deal, you still want to negotiate because you don't want the seller to think that they're just like giving their property away. So you always want to have some type of negotiation, even if it's a pretty good deal. And with properties that are listed on the MLS, you can call the listing agent, find out, hey, have they had any previous offers? You can ask them, look, is the seller negotiable on price? You can say, hey, what would get this property done? You know, what price would we need to be at to get this deal done? And a lot of times they're going to divulge a lot of information. So learning the history of the property and just getting the seller or getting the listing agent to give you a number is going to give you a big advantage and going to give you some pretty good real estate deals. Okay, negotiation tip number 2 is to only negotiate with motivated sellers. So you could have the best negotiation skills in the world. You could be the FBI Russian hostage negotiator guy. And if you're working with a non-motivated seller and you can pull out all the tricks, you can be like, look, every single property has sold for this amount. And the seller still thinks their house is worth, $1 million, whatever it is. It's just not going to work. Some people just aren't motivated. So you should direct your efforts with working with motivated people only. That's going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to give you some pretty good deals, and you're not going to have to deal with the headache of some crazy seller who thinks their house is worth $1 million when it's probably worth about half of that. Okay, the next negotiation strategy is just to be more informed than the listing agent or whoever you're negotiating with. So if you have more information, that is going to give you an advantage. If you've run more comps, if you know what every single property sells for as is, renovated, if you've read neighborhood articles about what's going on in the neighborhood, if you know the highest and best use of different properties, that is going to give you an advantage. So oftentimes what I like to do, whether it's a property listed on the MLS or property that's off market, but it looks like a good deal, I'm going to spend 30 minutes, maybe an hour just running comps, trying to find out as much information in terms of property values as possible. But not only that, I'm going to read as many articles as possible. I'm going to become the neighborhood expert for that one specific area. And what happens is that after several months of doing this for different neighborhoods, different properties, you start to just get an intuitive feel for deals. You start to know, if another property comes up in that neighborhood, you're already the neighborhood expert. You've already done your research. And, comps will change every couple months or so. But for the most part, you're going to have a leg up. You're going to have an advantage over different listing agents and sellers. And just more information in general is always going to be better. Okay, the next negotiation tip is not needing to actually do that deal. So as a real estate investor, you should have so many leads coming in that you don't necessarily need any one deal because you have so many good leads that you're not going to just pick a marginal deal. You have a pretty high qualification for the deals that you purchase. So coming from that mindset and coming from that position where you have so many leads that you can be picky with your deals, it's going to help you in multiple ways. So number 1, you're not going to be desperate when you're negotiating with the seller, and you're not going to be heartbroken over any one deal. When I was first getting started as a real estate investor, I remember I would lose out on a couple deals here and there. And I thought that was like the end of real estate investing. I thought there's never be any more deals because I only had like 5 or 6 leads coming in per month. But once you start to get like 25, 30, 50 leads per month, you can kind of sit back a little bit and say, that deal's not for me. Maybe you can wholesale the deal. Maybe you can list the deal. Maybe you can pass it on to somebody else. But you can be very picky and very strategic about the deals that you do so that you don't get into bad deals. It's going to help you from a negotiation standpoint, being that you're not like needy and desperate for a deal. And it's also going to help you from a net profit standpoint, being that you're not going to be forced to get into any bad deal. You're going to be very selective about the deals that you do and only do deals that make $50,000, $100,000, $75,000, whatever it is that is your criteria. Okay, lesson number 5 for negotiating real estate deals is that you should build rapport with the seller or build rapport with the agent. So a lot of people, when they think of real estate deals, they think you need to be like the hot shot, like Wall Street guy in like the suit, and you just come into the house, you're like, I'm going to pay like $100,000 for this piece of crap house and take it or leave it. And they come in like a little too strong. And because they think, most people think that's how like real estate negotiations are done. And in reality, you should try to build up as much rapport with the seller as possible. I've gotten so many deals just from being friends with the seller, being friends with the agent, building up rapport, building trust, building credibility, being responsive. And that goes a long ways. So when I come across that person that is like the tough line negotiator, and they're like, take it or leave it, $100,000 cash, your house is a piece of garbage, or whatever situation it may be, it's like, I don't really want to work with that person. I would much rather work with like the local, friendly, nice, real estate investor or real estate agent that is not going to completely trash the house or make some ridiculous offer and then just try to get into some huge argument about it. So I would recommend just building as much rapport as possible. It's going to help you. I've gotten properties, like I said, where I was not the highest offer, but I built rapport with the seller and they just generally liked me more than the other people. The other people were like, give me your house. This is a garbage house. It needs so much work. Why would I pay this amount for it? I'll pay this price and we'll be done with it. And it's almost like combative. So if you build rapport with the seller, with the agent, it's going to help your cause a lot. Okay, so thanks for watching this video on real estate negotiation strategies. And honestly, there's probably like 20 strategies I have, but these are the most important. These are the foundational, fundamental real estate negotiation strategies. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. And please like, please share, please subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. All right, bye.